welcome to this very dedicated episode of GPR Cast. I'm your host, Jacob Wagner, and this week we're going to be going over Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, although that releasing some Pokemon news from the presents and their announcements there, the fact that Stardew Valley's got some stuff coming on, more Destiny 2 as often and always, just on a whole lot of other stories from around the industry this week. But before we dive into that, as always, I'm joined by Ricky Beckett and Luke Miller. Thank you guys for being here this week again. How are you doing?
Good. Doing all right.
Good.
Doing okay. It's the doctor day. That's always fun.
Oh. Doctors. That...
Not eating your apples.
Besides the doctors, Luke, anything else going on this week or any games?
This week's been pretty quiet for me. Picked up Final Fantasy Rebirth today, but I haven't had time to play it yet.
You have it downloading right now.
I do have it downloading, but I haven't played it yet. Okay. I guess last week I started Crisis Core just to kind of go through that before Rebirth, but Rebirth is here. It's not happening, I guess.
What chapter did you get to in Crisis Core?
I just started chapter 2, so I have about 9 hours left.
Okay. I'm stuck in chapter 4, and that's where I ended last year, because I never got around to playing any of it. Ricky, how about you?
Good. We got back from my wife's friends / honorary parents in Missouri on Tuesday. Today I finally finished packing my whole office. So
that's a hard one
to go. Yeah, that's why it's taking me a while. And with my back injury from the army, makes it very difficult and slow.
You can't put your back into it.
Right. And I don't want to ask them for any help with that. So
no.
So that's a sweet moment. Gaming this week, yeah, not a whole lot, just because we got back Tuesday, but I did play a lot of Destiny 2 today. Mostly like experimenting with guns I haven't really reused before, just trying new stuff out.
Sure.
And yeah, that's it.
Cool beans. Cool beans. My week has been, well, nothing much new. Just continuing with the job hunt, continuing applying, and sometimes getting interviews, sometimes not. I've got another one scheduled for Monday, so we'll see how that one does. If I'm gonna have something for a few months from now or not. And then there's I have had my midterm. I took that yesterday for my coding class, so that was not as hard as I was expecting it to be.
Good.
I was expecting it to actually have some actual coding being done, and that I was really worried about that because we had a 75-minute time limit, and there have been different assignments where it's just like each assignment is like one coding thing that I have spent 3 or 4 hours on, and I'm just like, please don't be one of those. Mostly because I was trying to like do the things how that lesson at that right before had like tried to explain how to do it. Like, okay, I'm going to try to do that, and then I often end up just doing it like how I know it will work, and it should just continue working then. So
yeah,
if you have a lot, the ability to understand logic systems and just how everything can be laid out in a very logical pattern, coding is can come much more easily to you. If not, then it's going to be a struggle because things have to happen in orders and in specific fashions. Your language has to be awkward, but it still ends up being understandable because you're talking to a machine that doesn't understand human syntax. It can understand 1 + 1.
Right.
That being said, though, gaming, I spent the first part of it playing a ton of Pocket Card Jockey. Just playing numbers and horses with that, and then hopping over to Rebirth last night at 11 p.m. my time. That's when I hopped in and I stayed up extra late to play that. So that was not necessarily the best decision, but I did it anyway. And then I got a couple more hours in today, and so it'll be. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm excited to see where it's going. I'm just outside of Calm, and going across the plains there. So that's not spoilery because that's like right at the beginning of the game, and if you know the game, you know it. If you're not, like, that's where you start after the demo opening section. So, but speaking of FF7 Rebirth, that did release, technically officially released today on the 29th. It has been, like we said last week, I think, reviewed very well all over. It has the second highest rating. Does it still have the second highest rating of any Final Fantasy game ever? Which is impressive. Oh, it dropped down to 92. So it's tied in like a 3-way tie at 92. But there are no mixed or no negative in all of that. So that's really great. I have seen a lot of people streaming it. I've seen a lot of people watching it. I've seen a lot of people putting up images and videos, so be very careful if you are worried about spoilers. Continue to do so because they're out there. They're trying to get you. They're trying to get you. Ricky, I know you were in my stream earlier, and you had said that you didn't really or was that just a question to get me talking about the game with that, like, it used to be an 8-bit game, or what makes it a rebirth?
Well, I generally did not know.
Okay. Yeah. So, if you do want to, like, just hop straight into the game, you can definitely do that. In the title screen, the menu after the title screen, there is the story so far option that you can select, which will give you a TLDR of the first game. So if you just want to hop straight in and not worry about playing another 50-hour, 90-hour RPG before you play another 90-hour RPG, then that'll make it easier for you.
Nice.
Luke, do you Luke or Ricky, do you guys have any, like, things that you've seen about it or that you're care or interested in? I know that it's not Destiny, so
Yeah, no, nothing from me.
I'm super excited to sit down and play it. I got my cool Final Fantasy VII hat today.
Oh,
So
nice. You got it from
yeah,
GameStop, didn't you?
yeah. So I got my awesome hat. I'm just ready to hop into it. I'm hoping to. I finished downloading tonight. Maybe play some tomorrow. I'm really excited for it. Was that an amiibo?
Yes, it's a Sephiroth amiibo. And
That's awesome.
ah! Where is he? Where is he? Oh, oh. There he is. And.
Ooh, and the package still nice.
I just haven't ripped him open yet. Probably gonna do that. Probably gonna do that tonight.
I saw some cool Sephiroth statues on Twitter today, and I'm like, man, I want one of those, but I'm sure those are quite hefty in price.
The collector's edition for it came with a Sephiroth statue.
That's probably what I've seen then.
It was epic. I think it was like 18 inches tall.
Yeah, it was a quality size statue. It was massive.
Unfortunately, it was $250 at least, so it was like, and it didn't
Yeah.
actually come with a physical disc.
Got my 19 inches of Venom right here, so
Nice.
so I'm good.
The only statue I have is my from Knights of the Old Republic, the first the base game, the big bad for that one. I don't remember what his name is. Darth something.
Sidious?
No. This is Knights of the
No.
Old Republic. This is way back, way back.
Yeah.
The MMO. So, oh, we're definitely going to have a more than just an impression, like a review in progress, a review, just something or other, just like, hey, what we think. But as of right now, I'm saying totally get the game if you are any fan of fantasy action RPGs, just quirky, ridiculous 90s fun brought into the year of our Lord 2024. Because they are keeping so much of the quirkiness, so much of the ridiculousness. It's great.
Yeah, I appreciate that from playing the demo. There was just some like really weird parts. I thought this was hilarious, so I'm glad they're keeping the oddness of the original game in it. That's fantastic.
Can't wait to see more. Keeping going so that we keep going on everything. Pokemon had their presents video come out on Tuesday, and it was a lot shorter and a lot more packed with things than I was expecting personally. Two game announcements. The first one that was shown was the Pokemon TCG Pocket. That's the name of it. It's a mobile game, and it's going to be coming out sometime this year. I had definitely seen some questions come up about it. It's like, why is this a thing? Because there is already like an online game version of the card game. So why are they making a mobile app? From the sounds of it, it sounds like they have streamlined the game quite a bit. I'm getting the feels of like they're trying to have a style of like Marvel Snap, not like the same gameplay and mechanics, but hey, you want to hop in a game and be done in like 5 minutes at most? Here you go. So that's what I'm assuming it is, and then just another gateway to the card game, or just an more easily understandable version of the card game, so that people will hop into it and get involved and invested, and then start spending who knows how much money on cards. I still have I have ETB that I haven't even opened yet. So I was gonna do it for a stream one time, and a card box opening, and I just never got around to. So, so they're giving you 2 packs a day, so you get the feel of hey, you get that hit of opening cards every day.
Yeah,
get you hooked, get you addicted.
My son got his first pack of Pokemon cards today. I'm worried it's going to be a habit forming thing.
Oh, well, if he just make sure he keeps them, because then he can have all his cards in a nice little binder, and then he can get his nice rare ones. Like,
yeah, he's already asked for a binder after his first pack. I'm like, dude, let's cool our jets.
like if you went to the first Pokemon movie,
ooh,
get the Mew one. I've got a couple more of them still in their wrappers.
That's one of the ones I lost, because I lost all my Pokemon cards.
Oh no!
Just after multiple moves after my parents' divorce.
Oh no!
So I have no idea where they are. So I've literally been recollecting.
Oh, and then I've got my Shining Celebi. Can't.
Nice.
That's a rare one that actually is worth some money. So I have a few things that are worth it. I have my Eon ticket. So this isn't actually like a card, but it was for the e-reader for the Game Boy Advance.
How fun!
This is how you got your Latios and Latios in Ruby and Sapphire. So you have some fun things in there. Yes, you could probably see some Digimon cards in there too, because I put them all in the same binder. So totally get hooked on. It's at least something that you can actually do with as an addiction. Besides just collecting, You can join tournaments and things. Maybe get something back for everything that you've put into it. But the main thing from the Pokemon Presents that got me super stoked was the announcement for Pokemon Legends ZA. Coming in 2025, simultaneously to all systems. The Legends games, the first one, Arceus, was in my view the best Pokemon game ever. I'm gonna go that far, ever. It's Heart Gold and Soul Silver and some of the Kanto ones definitely put in their bid for it, but for the fact that you're really focused on catching everything to fill out your Pokedex, because you actually have to catch multiple things, see them doing different moves, like interacting with everything. You are filling out the Pokedex for real, instead of just catching it and having your Pokedex tell you the entry. No, you are writing the Pokedex entry. You're actively throwing, so like the actual action of catching is an active thing instead of just a button, woo! And then you maybe hit up an A at the same time to see if it'll help. That's a red-blue possible hack that really wasn't. I don't know if it actually was the case. And then your items, you could craft anything and everything. You didn't have to go back to town to get more Pokeballs ever. So Legends, I'm just so excited, and they are going to the X and Y, the Z game that never came. X and Y is the only generation of Pokemon that did not have a third installment.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
And so we're finally, after 12-ish years, something like that, getting Pokemon Z. It's in the Legends format, and so Zygarde is likely going to be the main Pokemon in that. The the entire game supposedly takes place in Lumio City. So whether that means present, past, future, that's all up for debate, up for questioning. But the other kicker is that this may very well be the first announced next gen Nintendo game, because it has Switch systems. I want to triple check on the actual wording of it. I took some screenshots. Okay. The Pokemon video game series will launch on Nintendo Switch systems in 2025. And then, as somebody else pointed out, like, well, it doesn't, like, there's like Switch Lite, Switch OLED, Switch Normal. It's like, okay, let's look at a game that was released recently, Super Mario Wonder. All three of those Switch systems are out at that time. And it has nothing. It says launches exclusively on the Nintendo Switch system. Singular.
Yeah.
So I might be stretching for some stuff, and so might a lot of other people, but it's not too hard to imagine that stretch. So if I get around to it, I will dive into a lot of these things deeper. Did either of you catch the Pokemon Presents? It was only like 12, 13 minutes, so.
I watched it, and then you and I kind of conversed back and forth about it, and I was saying I wanted to get into Pokemon games, and you suggested Arceus.
Yep.
So I'm gonna try that eventually, because I'm interested in exploring this, because the only game I've played recently has been the Sword game.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that, but I'd like to get deeper into it, especially if my son's getting involved with it now with cards and things. There's something he and I can kind of share together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I watched it. Totally forgot that it was happening, that they were doing it. Because let's see, yeah, because we got back Tuesday.
Sure.
And so yeah,
was
I think
bright and early in the morning. It was 8 Central.
Yeah. Yeah, I had gotten up just a couple hours, like 9:30, to get breakfast before checking us out of the hotel.
Sure.
And I think it was during breakfast when I saw it. I was like, oh yeah, they were doing that today. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, it was. Well, first I saw it was just the trailer for Pokemon Z.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what's this? And then I went back and watched the whole thing.
The rest of it wasn't really like, it's cool that like the Mon's coming to Pokemon Go, and Miraidon had been announced for Unite the week before, so that was already known. There just wasn't much else new.
Well, that's enough about Pokemon, I think.
Yeah, I will definitely
trying to keep us on track here.
I know.
I guess we got a lot.
Yes, we do. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. I was like, am I still running my previous stream from this morning that I just didn't refresh that? Okay, there we go. Baldur's Gate 3 is getting an official mod support later this year, so that's really cool. That Larian Studio is just like, hey, you want to mod our game? You want to have fun? You want to create your own story? Do your own D&D sessions? In Baldur's Gate 3? Cool. I could see people being able to do that, depending on how much they allow the mods to change things.
Yeah, have like an entire Critical Role show, just them playing Baldur's Gate 3 together. Seeing they
Yeah,
go through the 5th edition stuff. That'd be awesome.
that'd be super cool. Going back to our discussion with Xbox games coming to the other systems, it was noted on the PS5 versions of some of the games that on the splash screen there is no mention of Xbox anywhere. It just states that the games are published by Microsoft Corporation or Bethesda. No mention of Xbox to point people back to where they might want. Now that might be something from Sony and Nintendo, like, no, you can't have your logo on our stuff.
I think that's what it is. I think Sony is vindictive enough to say, no way. We'll take your game and your money, but you can't have free advertising on our console.
Yeah,
I think that's a power move
yeah,
on their part.
it makes sense. From the Japanese Nintendo Direct from the other week, there was a random anime game called Reynatus. It's an action role-playing game that is getting a Western release now. That was announced this last week. So that's really cool. Something else that is probably more in all of our wheelhouses is that Stardew Valley, the 1.6 update, is finally gotten its release date. It's too soon. I want to be able to focus on it. It's March 19th. That is just over 3 weeks away. On PC only for now. It will come to the rest of them later.
They start cranking out hours on Final Fantasy Rebirth, man.
I know. There is no way I am finishing 100-hour campaign because I take RPGs slow. There is no way I am doing what so many people are like, well, towards triple digits. Like, I'm going to be in triple digits because I take forever. I just take time leveling up. I just like go running around and getting extra enemies and getting extra levels. So it's I'm not getting there before March 19th. I don't know about you guys.
Some speedrun techniques.
I'll probably check it out just because it's been so long since I've played Stardew Valley, and 1.6 is supposed to be a pretty big deal. So
Yeah, it's going to be a huge content update from the teasers that he had a year ago, I think, that he posted, and then he's like, yeah, I kind of went overboard.
Mm-hmm.
So he went beyond his post of like 10 things that he was adding. And then as a reminder, Concerned Abe did suggest that you start a new file with it so that you can experience all of the new things as they happen. Because there's probably things that happen in each year that aren't new as well. So, Stardew Valley 1.6. He said he was going to be going dark for a while, just kind of going back to the grind of developing and programming, which will probably be Haunted Chocolatier, because he's pretty much. I think the other systems are out of his hand, and he needs to just have testing done to see where his bugs are more than he can do on his own.
Right.
So that's really cool. then we got something about then we have a Snufkin melody of Moomin Valley.
Yeah. I just literally stumbled across it on Nintendo's YouTube page. And it caught
Yes.
my eye. So Snufkin Melody of Moomin Valley. Um, this first of all, I showed my wife that the trailer for the video game. It got her super excited because Moomin is huge in Finland.
Oh.
It's basically the Finnish Hello Kitty. So Japan has Hello Kitty, America has Mickey Mouse, I guess.
Sure.
For Finland, it's Moomin. It looks great. It looks like a really beautiful game. It's you have to go through a series of musical puzzles and stealth gameplay.
Okay.
And just based on the trailer alone and my wife's response to it, it's very well to the source material. Woman, it's the set of characters were created by the author Tuva Jansson.
Okay.
Um, and the game is actually it's based on this book.
Oh.
Um, and it's Varal- Varalinen Juhannus, which means Juris Midsummer.
Okay.
Um, although the English translation calls it Moomin Summer Madness.
Huh.
So yeah, the game is literally based on this book. Snufkin is in it. All the Moomins, uh, and yeah, you can see it's some Finnish here, and some of Tuva Jansson's. Yeah, so this would be Snufkin there,
Okay.
and yeah. So yeah, the Moomins. By the way, people think that they're hippos, but they're not hippos. They're trolls.
Oh.
Um, so yeah, if you want to check that out, again, it's musical puzzles and stealth gameplay, and it'll introduce you to some good old Finnish culture.
That's really cool. That's out on
Yeah.
PC and Switch next
Yep.
week.
Yep. PC Switch March 7th.
Awesome.
Already pre-ordered it. It's on sale right now for 10% off. After tax, like $20.
On Steam or eShop or
eShop. I don't know about PC.
okay. If
For
it's
Steam.
Steam, usually there is like a 10% for pre-orders.
Yeah.
I was just watching the trailer as you were talking about it without any sound, and it's very stylized. The art.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Um,
My wife is like so excited. She's never been excited about a video game in her life. So
awesome,
yeah,
awesome.
it's very dear to her. In fact, I got a Moomin placemat that she makes me use because I make a mess when I eat, apparently. Yeah. So I don't know if I'll play it, but yeah, she'll give her something to do and to
Right.
enjoy. Yeah. I'm gonna go use the bathroom while you guys are doing the next stuff.
All right, sounds good. See you in a bit. Remedy is going to be acquiring it has acquired the full rights to the Control franchise from 505 Games, and I right before the show I noticed that 505 Games was shutting some studios down. I don't know if that meant they were also letting people go, laying them off. But there were a
I saw
bunch.
something. I saw something along the lines of layoffs with Remedy today, or not Remedy, 505 today as well.
If so, I
I don't have
missed
the
that
source
for
though.
our later stuff when we get back to the stupid laying off. Go for it. Sorry, I interrupted.
Oh, that's okay. No, I was just saying I don't have a source, but I did see something today where they were laying people off at 5:05. That's all.
Saw it on my phone, and then I didn't link it into anything because I was just like, did I put it in? Did I not? And then I didn't check before. Oh, as something random to throw in quick that's not in the notes. Pal World, um, is getting their next focused planned future updates, including PvP, raid bosses, the Efra endgame content, and Pal Arena. It's PvP for pals. I don't know why they put PvP in there twice, but then they're working on crossplay between Steam and Xbox. They're trying to do some feature improvements for Xbox, server transfers and migrations, improvements to the building system, and new islands, pals, bosses, and technologies. So that came up 3 hours ago. So apparently I wasn't scrolling Twitter enough to see these updates. That's funny. Grand Theft Auto 5 came out the same year as Pokemon X and Y in 2013, and Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out the same time as Pokemon Z. Maybe. We'll see if they actually make it. Continuing on, but that's great for Remedy that they fully acquired Control. It probably was easier for them if 505 was in such dire straits that they were about to be shutting down studios.
Yeah. Does 505, do they make their own original IPs, or do they publish other people's IPs for them for distribution?
That
Uh,
is an
Because
excellent question.
because when I think of 505, I know they did Control for Remedy. They also did Death Stranding for Kojima. But I don't know if they do their own games or if they just publish people's games.
Um, they are a publisher,
Okay.
so the list of their games, some of the big ones, other than the ones you said, um, they have developed some. Okay, I see that. They did develop some from 2007 to 2011. Um, and they were co-developed. I think they co-developed Control with Remedy, but since Remedy just bought it out, then that's. But no, they seem to have be more of a publisher. Um, when they first started out as 505 Game Street, and then 505 Games. They changed their name maybe in like 2006. And they have quite
Okay,
a few games.
thanks for that. Thanks for looking at that. 'Cause I don't, like I said, I don't ever recall them publishing their own game, but if it's been 15 years, that explains why.
They've published a VeggieTales game. VeggieTales, Larry Boy, and the Bad Apple. There's Terraria and so many different ones. That seems like quite the assortment of games that they have worked with. But yes, it does seem like they are having some difficulties with just the rest of the gaming industry. I don't think any of us play Final Fantasy XIV, but I saw this, so I put it out there. They're having a collab quest that's live now until the 13th of March to get some fun new mounts. It's the collab quest is called A Nocturne for Heroes. So oh, never mind. It is all about Final Fantasy 15. It's to get the the car for 15 again, because it's been a while since it has been available. So that's what that is. Speaking of Square, going on for some more stuff, there was a director who was on a podcast. What podcast was he on? I just start saying things and then I don't have all of my the developer or from the was Kitase, who I do believe was one of the original developers for that game. He just asked the host, like, hey, how would you like to see Chrono Trigger remade or remastered? Graphic style, bring it forward like as faithfully as possible and just change graphics, bring it forward and kind of change the battle style, or like just change some of the mechanics of it, but still have the central main game still the same, or follow in like the way of FF7 in the remake trilogy and do it like that. And so a lot of people have just jumped on it. Hey, they're asking the fans, what do you want to see? How do you want to see Chrono Trigger remade? And I think like, hey, at least they're talking about it. That doesn't mean anything in the development cycle of anything, because you'd think that if they had something in the works, they'd probably be trying to play their hand this year in the fall, because as of right now, we don't have anything announced for the fall, really, in most any system.
It's true.
Nintendo only has stuff announced through like June or July. Sony doesn't have any first party things announced until March, April of next year. Xbox is focusing and putting all their stuff on other maybe Indiana Jones might. What is that release date scheduled for? Do you remember?
They didn't give it a date, just a blanket release of 2024. Same thing with Avowed. They have 3 or 4 games coming out this year, but they're labeled as 2024.
That's if they're coming out. Like,
yeah,
none of these games. There's been
had this
no games
roadmap
that
for
have
like
hit
6 years and nothing's coming out.
Ugh. How many games have actually hit their initial release date?
I don't think any have this generation, honestly.
That haven't been announced. Okay, that haven't been announced like a month before it was released,
Right.
or like the day of.
Hellblade 2 is coming out this year too, supposedly.
Yeah, it's all third party though. That for the most part.
Yeah.
That might be into the or release schedule. So like Chrono Trigger, I honestly would be fine with anything as long as they brought it forward well. I guess, like, do it, but don't F it up, basically. Do something about it, please. A game came out, Chrono Trigger release date was 95. You know what? They're coming up on their 30th anniversary. next year. If they're doing anything, and if they feel like they have the wiggle room to do it, that they're going to shoot for March 11th of 95. Because that's when it first came out. Do a huge 30th anniversary hullabaloo.
I'd welcome it. I played it on PC 2 years ago, and I really enjoyed it.
It's a fun game. I have a friend. He had the Super Nintendo version of it, and then he sold it without telling me. I was like, dude, why didn't you tell me you wanted to get rid of it? No, they needed the money. Oh well. Anything that you guys would want to see for a Chrono Trigger remake remaster? Did you guys play the original or play it?
I never heard of it till now.
I played it on PC a couple years ago. I think for
Jacob's
me,
like so offended.
I think I'm gonna need to take your gamer card.
Chrono Trigger.
I think I'd just be happy with a graphical update if they keep the combat the same.
Yeah.
That's good enough for me for that game.
Oh, looks like Dragon Ball Z.
Yes, it was. The
artist?
artist was the one who designed everything in the game.
Hmm.
It is one of the most iconic RPGs, and I guess that's gonna go well into one of our roundtable discussions. Specifically RPGs of old with today's people. Like, I know you're not a Gen Z, but like it would make sense that they wouldn't know about stuff like that unless they were told or they sought it out. So yeah, graphical update. Like I agree with the one sentiment of like the HD 2D, like Octopath Traveler. That art style I think would look very nice with Chrono Trigger. But so would a hand drawn thing like Moomin Valley or Cuphead. Like, not those art styles. But the game that we talked about last week that has the same or a similar artist guy. Is it? You brought it up, Luke. You're the one. The game.
Sandland.
Sandland. Yes.
Yeah, I can't think of the guy's name, but like Ricky said, it's the guy that did Dragon Ball Z. It's that artist.
So draw it.
Yeah.
I wish they would make a Pokemon game like that. I've seen a fan working of a game where it's the old, like they did Red and Blue in the art style of how the art was done for Red, Blue, and Green. And they just made the game that art style.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It looked amazing.
Nintendo would never do it, but
no.
Oh well, off the nostalgia train, back onto something new. Metaphor ReFantazio has gotten updated with a new gameplay loop description. So you get to go on quests, dungeon dive, and hunt for treasures by day, strengthen relationships, build bonds, and increase virtues by night. Choose your actions wisely. Time management is the key to achieving your goal. So it sounds like Persona, only flip-flopped. Ride your gauntlet runner to faraway dungeons and towns across an expansive world. Discover beautiful landscapes accompanied by captivating music, immersive UI, and anime cutscenes. So you might actually have to also like choose like, okay, I'm going to be missing these character moments because I'm going to travel halfway across the world to do that story. So that's interesting. A unique battle system combining turn-based and real-time action grants strategy and exhilaration at every turn. Party customization through archetypes provides freedom to personalize your adventure. That sounds like Mario RPG, the timed button, turn-based. So like when you're timing your attacks to get a stronger one, and then a mysterious and exciting story unfolds in a world where people must fight their own anxiety. Join the high-stakes royal tournament that promises hours of captivating exploration and discovery. That sounds fun to me. Except the time, not a fan of time management stuff. I get anxious about that. Did I do everything right? Am I good? Is it right? Did I do enough before this time?
Ironic, since it's supposed to be fighting anxiety.
Right?
Yeah, I was looking at to go along with this topic. I was looking at a trophy requirement for Persona 3
Mm-hmm.
to meet all the social things for the platinum. There's no way I could do that stuff. That you have to do like meet this person on this day at this time of. I mean, it's just
You follow
no.
a guide. You follow
Yeah,
a
this is
guide.
not fun for me.
That's real life. Beat this guy at this time.
Yeah. I still want to play P3. P3R. Oh. Why did my Xbox thing? Well, actually, never mind. I didn't have time. Who am I kidding? Today, of all days, today is Leap Day. Today is February 29th. Do you know if your game has been working? That's right. There have been at least 2 games today that crashed and could not work for a while because it was February 29th. They had forgotten to program, for some, I don't know why, the ability for their game to understand that there is a leap year. The Rhythm, Final Bar Line, and EA Sports WRC both had difficulties working today. There were Reddit posts about Theatrhythm saying that my game has crashed. Did I lose everything?
Right. It's like Y2K, but
Leap year.
Leap year.
Yeah, if you play Batman, I'm gonna go see if Calendar Man has a something for you to say to you for a trophy or achievement.
That is hilarious. That is
That is funny. I hadn't read that.
That's wild.
going back to the Pokemon TCG, the actual trading card game. The back artwork. This stuff right here is finally getting fixed. Do you see how the Pokeball, the middle thing, is connected to the white? That is not how a Pokeball opens. A Pokeball opens with the middle thing on the red. So after almost 30 years of these little cardboard or these paper collectibles, they are finally changing the back artwork. So that's cool. Why it took them so that mistake has been known since they were first released, especially
That's
since
the
the
funny
anime
thing.
came out.
Yeah.
When like you would actually see,
Imagine how much more valuable all these cars are going to be now after so many years.
especially the OG ones.
Yeah.
You got a 10 holographic Charizard from the first printing with the original back, because they're going to reprint these like for X. I think it was X and Y. They reprinted all of the first wave of cards because X and Y had a focus on Mega Evolution, which had a lot of the first gen Pokemon. So they just brought back the old cards as a reprint. And for if you want to make money and you somehow have like a box of those cards unopened, sell those for a lot of money. That card pack is one of the most expensive sets to sell for Pokemon for unopened stuff, unless you have actually the original stuff. Because
Right.
people love Gen 1.
Hmm.
Terminator is getting a new game. Speaking of a fall release game, Terminator Survivors is coming October 24th. You get to play as a survivor in an open world set after Judgment Day, where you alone or in co-op scavenge resources to build a base of operations for mankind. Sounds fun. You can pre-order that on Steam. I don't know what else it's coming to. Bungie.
Yeah. There's two Destiny. So their TWAB came out today. I guess just two things stood out to me. Bungie is investigating adding a big team battle-like experience to Destiny 2's PvP, but there are some tech-related complexities.
They were the ones who
Word on.
originally did the BTBs.
Hmm?
And they were the ones who originally did it in Halo.
Yeah, that's true. So if they're gonna do it, they can do it well. I don't know anything about the complexities, but I imagine maybe it has something to do with being an MMO. I have no idea. But word on the street is, or word on the webs is that this
Dark web
is this would be a huge welcome PvP Destiny community.
Oh yeah.
So pretty much they're all for it. I might even dabble in it quite a bit myself.
I mean, Destiny has been 4v4, 5v5, 3v3, like somewhere in that range since Destiny 1.
Pretty much, yeah. And PvP has been elected a lot for a long time. But at the same time, whenever Bungie does something new with PvP, they complain. It's just a toxic part of the community. But so we'll see what happens. I think I will dabble in it because I did do the big team battle stuff in Halo and enjoyed that a lot.
You can't say that competitive people are toxic. I've never known a toxic competitive person in my life.
Yeah. It's a problem, and that's why I don't take part in any PvP stuff, because the people there are just not nice. And the next thing is March 5th through the 26th is Guardian Games All Stars. So I think maybe when did Guardian Games start? It was relatively new, maybe let's see, 4 or 5 years ago. When they introduced Guardian Games.
Sure.
If you're new to Destiny, or haven't played in a while. Basically, they do it this every year. The whole point is to prove who is the best class of the year. And you do that by doing all sorts of activities, which gives you these medals that you bank at the tower, and it raises the flags up and down. And there's always a declared winner every day, and depending on the majority winner, there's some sort of like celebration at the end of the week. I think this might be year 4 because Titans won the first year, which made me very happy. I was a Titan main at the time, and then shockingly, it was it was Hunters, it was Warlocks. So everybody's won at least once so far.
Good.
So we'll see. And then at the end of the whole event, there's a statue in between Zavala and Shax in the tower, dedicated to whatever the class is, whichever class won. So the slightly different name, Guardian Games All Stars, instead of just Guardian Games. I don't know why they did that. I'm sure they say in the top, but I didn't read all of it. March 5th through 26th. I just kind of skimmed through and read the stuff that was important to me. So that'll give us something to do for about a month until the final shape. Yeah, 3 weeks. So
cool.
Yep. Crash Team Rumble.
Yep, our last specific game news for the week. Crash Team Rumble on March 4th. That will be the final content update for the game. The core game will still be live for players, have access to a free 500 tier battle pass that includes 104 new items. This will include all of the battle pass content from seasons 1 through 3, plus all the available event rewards. Dang. Additionally, the in-game currency purchases will be turned off, and players can use their existing Crash coins to purchase tier skips for said battle pass. So no more microtransactions, and you can get everything that was ever put into the game for a purchase. If you can just build yourself up through a 500 tier battle pass. I guess that's the way to do it. That way people can actually have your content. Cool. I've never played the game, so. But if people are going to do stuff, at least talk about them doing stuff nicely or consumer friendly. Talking about general games industry news, the composer for Final Fantasy, specifically VII Rebirth, and he did a lot of them, Nobuo Uematsu, says that he's not going to probably be composing a full game on his own again, just because of his health, both physically and mentally, just not able to continue doing it. He appears to be retirement-ish age, though in Japan seems like they keep going, especially in the games industry.
Yep.
Until they are about ready to.
Retirement's overrated.
Yeah. So he is not gonna probably be doing. He's saying that now, probably because he just finished working and composing and doing everything for a game where there are like 400 different pieces of music.
Yeah, that's a lot, dude.
That's insane. I did pre-order that soundtrack, but I can always cancel it. I've got until April 19th. I couldn't help it. Music is just too good. Going on, PlayStation is talking about the fact that the PSP, the new one, the portable. I am now confused on if I remember what the name is, because I think that
Portal.
Is it Portal?
Yeah,
Sure
Portal.
I thought it was Portable again. Like they just reused the name. Okay. Anyway,
portable, but
the new one. They can't keep it on the on the shelves, anywhere, and that is exceeding their expectations. Cool beans. I wish they would actually, have that translate to the rest of their company, because we took a week off last week, because there wasn't any, but this week came back in force with layoffs in the thousands. Supermassive Game, 90 people. PlayStation, 900 people. EA, 670.
that's just why? Why? I don't get it. Gaming industry really doing that poorly?
Oh, like I think it was Embracer that said it was to protect their investors. I mean, year over year, there's substantial
Through the
growth in that
investors.
market. But it's can't have a $300 million budget and not in the game not sell, and then keep all your employees. Regardless of how popular the IP is, if you don't make your money back, you don't have workers to pay.
No.
So somebody did a full list of everything so far. 1,900 people from Microsoft, 900 from Sony, 1,800 from Unity Software, 500 from Twitch, 530 from Riot Games, 170 from Discord, 300 to 400 people from Playtika, so we're going to go 400. We're going to just make it the worst possible. 125 from Lost Boys Interactive, 70 from Metaverse, and 120 from Pixelberry Studio. 50 from Black Forest Games, 60 from Raycon Games, 97 from Eidos Montreal, Sega of America 61, 91 Act 60, Supermassive 90, then 670 from each. In the first 2 months of 2024, because we are at the end of February, we are at 7,603 people.
Oh.
Plus the 10,500 from last year. Unacceptable. If you
Nintendo hasn't had any layoffs, has it?
They have not. Some of that is because of laws in Japan. If you want, Good Vibes Gaming.
That's right, I remember now.
Did a video on that this last week of why Japan and specific like Nintendo have not seen the same kind of layoffs that everywhere else has. Now that doesn't mean that Nintendo is clean. Back in the early 2010s when they had their issues with the Wii U, Nintendo of Europe and Nintendo of America both had some larger layoffs, but not like as much as some of these ones that we just listed. They are not perfect themselves, but they are at least seeming to be adding to their company. where everybody else, well, I mean, if you look on LinkedIn and Indeed, you can see that every single company is hiring, even though they just mass fired everybody.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense. Like, you had the people here. Shift them in your organization.
Yep.
So it.
And I think this somewhat relates too, but I saw yesterday that Microsoft goes out of their way to pay minors more than white people. Yeah. And I'm the only color person here, and that pisses me off.
The end of Black History Month, and we're learning about all these things, and it's just.
Yeah.
Bowl. I think bowl. With these layoffs, Sony has announced that they have canceled. There was a Twisted Metal live service game that was in development at their UK-based studio Firesprite. A lot of their UK development sites were what was hit the most for Sony. Insomniac. What was the full list?
They had layoffs at Naughty Dog, Insomniac, Gorilla. They completely closed London studio and Firesprite.
Yeah.
I think that was the list. I mean, it's pretty comprehensive, but that's substantial. I mean, those are some of their top performing studios.
Insomniac just sent out Spider-Man 2. We haven't even been 6 months out from that. Last of Us Part 2 remake just came out. Horizon just had their release last year. Or the year
Insomniac, let's look at Insomniac. They had Miles Morales. They had Spider-Man. So Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2. They've been Ratchet and Clank. They've been putting games out much quicker than all the other Sony studios have.
Yes.
So I don't understand the reasoning.
And
I'm
they've
kind of gonna
been
rant
good sellers.
just for a second.
Go for it.
Why didn't they close Media? I hate to say this. Why didn't they close Media Molecule? The last game they put out was Dreams, and to my understanding, it wasn't really accepted very well. So what do they have in Jim Ryan? There's a picture with Jim Ryan and all the heads of Studio London together.
Yes.
From last week before they were all terminated.
And they were giving him a party for
his retirement. Like, what the hell is going on?
I don't know, man.
It was nice last week to not have to talk about this. We could just enjoy the thrills of what gaming can be.
Yep.
Other things that were canceled: EA canceled Respawn's unannounced Star Wars first-person shooter, which we are assuming is the Mandalorian game that was in development. So it's a downer, but it is what is happening right now. And so it needs all of the publicity that is happening, because these places need the negative press. I'm going to jump down to the a couple of the success stories in spite of these closures. Okay. Saber Interactive, the developers behind the KOTOR remake, Warhammer 40k, and Space Marine 2 are leaving Embracer in a $500 million deal that will see it and its 3,500 developers go private.
That's great
Wow.
news for that studio. I'm
Gearbox
so
is
I'm
close.
so looking forward to Warhammer.
Yes. I really hope that KOTOR, the remake, can get it. Gearbox is close to a sale. Actually, I think they did announce something more. This was just a rumor when I put it or when I found it earlier, but I think something did come of this, or more of an announcement came of it later. Um, I'm not sure, but they are breaking away from Embracer, especially uh with a deal to be closed next month. And then Toys for Bob, Crash Bandicoot's developer, who did see layoffs from the Activision stuff, has broken away from Activision. They might partner with Microsoft. They are in talks about, like, hey, yes, we're breaking away from you. We'll still work with you, partner with you, but you don't own us. They specifically, they took a thing. They have said, like, we are announcing that we are going to be an independent game development studio. Over the years, we've inspired love, joy, and laughter for the inner child in all gamers. We pioneered new IP and hardware technologies, Skylanders. We raised the bar for best-in-class remasters in Spyro Reignited Trilogy, which was a good remaster. It kept the feel of the game, but cleaned it up. We've taken Crash Bandicoot to innovative, critically acclaimed new heights. With the same enthusiasm and passion, we believe that now is the time to take the studio and our future games to the next level. This opportunity allows us to return to our roots of being a small and nimble studio. Make this news even more exciting, we are exploring a possible partnership between our new studio and Microsoft. And while we're in the early days of developing our next new game in ways away from making any announcements, our team is excited to develop new stories, new characters, and new gameplay experiences. Our friends at Activision and Microsoft have been extremely supportive of our new direction, and we're confident that we will continue to work closely together as part of our future. So keep your horns on and your eyes out for more news. Thank you to our community of players for always supporting us through our journey. We can't wait to share updates of our new adventure in indie studio. Talk to you soon. So we've got
Nice.
3 companies who are breaking away.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Lord. Like, there is part of me that likes that Microsoft was able to get Activision Blizzard, mostly for the Blizzard side of things, who try to clean up some of that. But even then, they've royally screwed over so much. Embracer has done the same with all of the things that they have bought. Getting companies under one roof does not work towards a better gaming industry, better game experience for the developers and producers, better game experience for the consumers, the players.
No.
There's got to be individualism. There's got to be competition to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are messed up with, like, how they are being run, and those need to be corrected. And sometimes being bought is the only way to correct that, because that's the only way those idiots are going to retire. Looking at you, Bobby Kotick. But we've seen where all of these mergers, where all of these big companies are going with these games. And the industry is crashing because of it. Or in part because of it.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts for you guys before we
No.
jump onto other stuff?
No, I think it's great news. They're leaving the Embracer and so forth.
Okay.
Well,
Yep.
there next before our roundtable, there is
We have a couple. I skipped 3 things to go to the happy news.
Okay, you want to go back to those?
Yeah,
Then we'll
they're
do
just 2 quick things.
Yeah, go ahead.
Earlier today or yesterday, there was a report that a ransomware gang had hacked Epic Games, claiming they stole nearly 200 gigabytes of internal data, including emails, passwords, names, full names, payment information, and source code. Epic Games has put out a statement saying that they have been investigating it, and the group's claims that are there, there's currently 0 evidence that they are legitimate. So, thankfully, that might not be there. So, that's a lot of data, 200 gigs, especially if it's mostly just like the text data. Because you look at how big a Word document is, just text, it's like 50 meg. 200 gigs is a lot. So thankfully, that seems to not be true.
That's why I want to go into cybersecurity.
Yes.
Stop those jerks like that.
And then the other thing is that there is this company called Yuzu. It's an emulator developer. Nintendo is suing them for
Of course.
what they are and what they do. Because of just the fact they're emulating, they're working on like some of the encryption codes. I think one of the main reasons, though, like users, like people are trying to defend them, like, oh, game preservation, all this other stuff. There is a point for that, but not with brand new games that haven't been released yet. There were reports of over 1 million downloads of Tears of the Kingdom before the game came out through this system.
Pretty sure that's piracy.
Yes. Now, like, if we're talking about games from the PS3, 360, Wii era and earlier that are no longer in development, there is something to say about game preservation.
Yeah.
Like, that is important.
Yeah, I agree.
But not
brand new games.
Brand new games that are like Game of the Year contenders. Millions sellers, I should say. Some of the stuff specifically, in Nintendo's court documents, I guess I can't remember the word I'm looking for, is going on to like video game ROM. It's still an encrypted game file. And so there were people who were talking about stuff in Discord in 2018, whether an XCIS file type, a game ROM file type, that it dumps from a cartridge, come decrypted. No, they are encrypted. So Nintendo is not aware of any decrypted games or game ROMs.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
Yuzu is allowing users to play unauthorized copies of Nintendo Switch games by circumventing the game encryption at or immediately before runtime.
Well then,
Yeah. So,
that's bad.
yeah. And it
Don't
goes into some more specifics, but that is
Mhm.
difficult.
Yeah.
So,
Don't do that. Be ethical. Not that
yes.
hard.
Anyway, there was a we'll have a new little bit for giveaways that may or may not be from us or from other places that are reputable. Ricky, you'd found one.
I got this from in an email from the VA, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, of a $2,500 gaming PC giveaway. Veterans. So if you're a veteran and listening to our podcast, there is a way for you to possibly win a gaming PC. There are, I think, Jacob, I'll give you the link that shows how to, so you can put into the description. Or I can do that as we go into our roundtable, actually.
Does it
I'll
have the
put it in our
specs
chat.
for it?
No, it doesn't have the specs at all.
Dang.
So what that looks like, I don't know. It might be like a simple, 32 RAM terabyte storage, or you might to build your own up to 2500. I don't know. It doesn't say.
2500
Um,
in 2500 this year will get you a lot more than 2500 last year.
so yeah. Who knows what that'll look like? It might be like something that they've already built, or something you get to build yourself up to the $2,500 mark.
Nice.
So yeah, and of course I entered by entering. I found a um the America's largest uh military gaming community.
Mm,
And the ways that you can enter is by joining or by following them on Twitter and joining their Discord. They are called uh, Regiment. Um, Regiment Gaming. On their Discord, the URL, discord.gg/regiment. That's what it is. And when I joined their Discord yesterday, it was had around 30,000 friends slash members. And today, in just 24 hours, because of this whole thing, they've added 11,000
oh,
more
crud.
service members slash veterans. So yeah, I mean, you join the Discord, and you get to, I mean, you introduce yourself, and there's to assign yourself roles. Those
Mhm.
are basically like these are the you just click on like the games you play, and then it will automatically add you to the channel for those games.
Great.
So of course I did Destiny 2 and Halo. So it, really good chance for just to meet other veterans and service members. Um,
Oh.
which is really important to me because I miss the camaraderie and just the no nonsense of the way I described it, the military or I guess the army culture to my wife was, everybody comes from all walks of life and nobody cares where you came from. Um, they, we're all on the same team, and nobody. I mean, we're we're gonna give each other the crap based on where and how we grew up, but
Mhm.
that's the fun of it. But nobody's going to treat you harshly.
Because you all had the same experience, like, or a similar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that shared
Yes.
experience break spawns or breaks
Yes.
brings people together. Creates spawns.
Yeah, breaks barrier. Yeah.
Breaks barriers.
So yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that, seeing if I can meet some new guys. I'm
Sure.
already been chatting a bit on the Destiny 2 channel, of course. And they really awesome apparel that I'm waiting to purchase. They have I'm still trying to find out more about it, but they have some esports teams. It's
Okay.
based on what everybody in the Discord wants to play or likes to
Hey,
play,
Ricky.
whatever.
Esports is
Yeah.
usually PvP.
Yeah, I like to watch it.
Oh.
I don't play. I like to watch it.
Okay, I was making sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like watching sports, hence esports, right?
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I don't play hockey, but I like to watch it. Yeah, and they have a big thing there, and their big thing about video games is that it's helped. Video games helped a lot of veterans overcoming physical and emotional trauma.
Yes.
And they're supported by USAA, which is my fencing institution. And they're also supported by G Fuel. Somebody else, I forget.
Yeah, they have a link to their sponsors right on their homepage.
Oh, so you found it.
I went and just looked at it quick.
Good. Yeah, so you can put that wherever people can find it.
Yep.
So yeah, so that where I said I would give you the link that shows you how to enter. So I'll do that as we.
I couldn't actually find the giveaway. I was looking to see if I
Yeah.
could find the giveaway to see if
I have it somewhere.
if it's in a specific email. I don't know if I want to put that out in a public space.
No. I like a link. I have a link somewhere.
As long, yeah, they probably have their own
gotta
vetting system for people. So
yeah, I just gotta remember how I found it. So yeah, I'll look for that while we to our round table.
So our roundtable today focused a lot on story. Two different questions, similar but different. One looking at us and how we see story in games, and one looking at retro games and the latest two generations of people, Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Let's start with looking outward first. In the year of our Lord 2024, do you think that retro-styled, specifically RPGs, but this probably could go into many other different Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Game Boy, maybe even like 64, PlayStation 1 and original Xbox and younger games, because those are at this point retro. You take a look at the games that younger people are trending towards. What are they trending towards? Roblox and Minecraft are two of the biggest ones. Pokemon and Pokemon is another one. That's kind of a different. I think Pokemon is going to be the outset because it's a merchandise. It's a brand. Minecraft kind of is too. It is there's a brand identity along with it that isn't always in games. So we're gonna have to take those ones from a different angle. But the idea of like Roblox and Minecraft and those two together seem to be some of the games that are often played by younger people. The other week I was looking into they have tutoring opportunities, online tutoring opportunities for video games for kids, like ages 3 to 18. And you can pick your different age groups. I was doing my best to find games that weren't the ones I suggested and Stardew Valley of all things. Those 4 games types were like 95% of what I saw as I was scrolling through this site. And so you look at that, it's like, okay, these games are open world. They don't really have a set story. They don't really have a driving narrative all the time. You make your own game, or you play the games how you want to. There might be story elements, but you just kind of have to go through them to then play how you want to play. All 4 of those games share that concept. Whereas the games when we were younger, every part of them was sewn together with a story, was sewn together with emotion or purpose, feeling what was there. It was like a book given form. So I think I'm going to change this. How do you think that, like, you get younger people to see the good things in a game that has a story that it wants you to play, instead of all of its meaning being from what you give it?
Just invite them to play one of those games.
I mean, yeah. It like it. I think it's going to be a very interesting. If this could be studied, I would love to see the demographic information for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, of everybody who plays it, of everybody who watches play on a stream. I don't think you could do the live streaming stuff as well, but you could theoretically get the data for those who have played it and how long they played it. Is story boring?
Only if you're boring.
Or do you... Are all game stories exciting? I'm going to put it that way. I'm going to switch that around. Are all game stories exciting?
No, it depends on how it's written and how it's delivered, how the narrative is told in the game.
Yeah. Would you say that there are more games with good writing or bad writing?
In the history of gaming, I would say more good writing. Lately, kind of leaning more towards poor writing. Well, I don't know. No, okay, I have to use Destiny 2 as an example. Okay. Destiny 2 right now has excellent writing. When you read the in-game lore, it's awesome.
Yeah.
how the narrative is told in the game
Completely
is
different.
poor. uh, and if you watch, my name is Bife videos, or just pay any attention to the Destiny 2 community, that's been a major complaint for several years now, is how the narrative is told in the game. So I think it's how do you balance that? You got excellent writing on the one hand, but or narrative delivery
Yeah.
in the game. Um, yeah.
What do you think, Luke?
Although I'm kind of torn on this topic, because I think primarily the games I play are narrative driven.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Same.
like Last of Us Part Two. I mean, those are all about story and the emotional trauma that they go through with, you know, the society collapsing and everyone dying, and how people respond to that. And then you have like the Telltale games. They're also narratively driven.
Mhm.
Um, so like Ricky was saying, a lot of modern games I feel have excellent stories, but you go to a game like Roblox or Minecraft, and that story is void. But that's with the design
Mm-hmm.
um of the game. But like my wife and I were looking at our Nintendo Switch the other night, and to see our kids were spending all their time playing games,
Mm-hmm.
and what games they were playing, and like 410 hours were devoted to Fortnite, and like 10 hours was given to like Mario Wonder, you know. So my kids enjoy that the non-story type games compared to story games. I think a part of that though is the social aspect of it too. Um, so I think that's where are more so lean, is the social aspect of it, the story aspect of it. I mean, at least that's my experience and observation.
I mean, like that social aspect, especially like with a shooter. Uh, I'm gonna guess that we could all kind of go back to our college days. Halo LAN parties.
Dude, that was middle school for me. LAN parties? That's middle school.
We did
Hold on.
we did a few LAN parties with Halo 3 in college.
I went to college later because I went into the army straight out of high school, and then
Okay.
college after.
Okay.
Middle school, high school was LAN parties for me.
Okay.
I'm going back further. Even buddies had 4 or 5 TVs set up. We would play GoldenEye together in high
Yes.
school. So that's how we played back in the day.
So like we have our instances of non-storied things, but at the same time too, like Fortnite didn't get popular until it dropped its story
Yeah,
and became
I was
a
I was
BR.
trying to tell my son this the other day. A streamer named Co Carnage. Have you guys heard of Co?
I love
Co
watching. He's a good
Carnage.
guy.
I remember when Fortnite first came out. I was in seminary, and just like how bland the world was, fighting those stupid zombies, and how much he hated it. Then 6 months later is like the biggest phenomenon for multiplayer, like PUBG and Fortnite and
Yes.
all those games when they're really big and popular. Um, yeah,
I guess if all you want to do is play PvP, you don't need a story.
No. But even then, most of our PvP games, except like, okay, I can't. Never mind. I can't say most of them, because then you have like Mario Kart, which was another one actually that I saw a lot on that website. Um, has no story. They've never tried to put a story into Mario Kart, which is surprising, actually. Um,
but I will say I have given my daughter a few of my games to play, and she's loved them. I gave her Arkham Origins to play.
mhm.
I gave her a Plague Tale to play, and I gave her Last of Us Part One to play, and she's loved the stories to those games. And she's a freshman in high school, so I think like Ricky was saying, if you give them the opportunity to play those games or invite them to play them with you, they'll be drawn to the story and enjoy the narrative driven games.
Yeah.
But for right now, like we're talking, it's more of a social experience for them to play games together
Well, I think it
than for a
also then
story.
goes to the fact that like it almost has to be that the parent is also a gamer.
Yeah, I would agree with
Yeah.
that.
Because
Yeah.
we, as people who have played games for more years than our kids or future kids have been alive.
Yeah. I've
I
been
mean,
playing
like,
since I was 3.
yeah, pretty much the same here.
I'm 34 now.
Yeah. So over 30 years of gaming.
Yeah. Holy cow. Damn,
It's
I'm old.
we have from some of the earliest game consoles.
Mhm.
Like, I never played them at the time, like original Nintendo. I played Atari games because that's what my dad first had. Those were my first gaming experiences. I don't remember them, but I have them. Or I have
Right.
picture proof that we did it. I remember
Yeah.
playing Pac-Man. That's like, I remember the... But then, like, the 90s, when gaming started to boom,
Mhm.
that's where a lot of that retro stuff comes on in. And like, there's story, but there's also like graphics. Oh, that stuff is all 16-bit, 32-bit. It's like, try it here.
Well,
This is
I
a good experience because you will have fun doing it.
I I I think I don't think the younger generations care that much about
I
graphics
don't think as
anymore.
much anymore.
Because
Yeah.
like you got Fortnite, graphics aren't amazing. They're not terrible, but they're not amazing.
No.
Um
Minecraft, it's blocks.
and yeah, and I mentioned this a couple weeks ago that indie developers, a lot of the games are either 8-bit or I don't know what you call it, but rather simple.
Yes.
Um, but it looks great, right? And some of those, like Octopath Traveler,
Mm-hmm.
which is 8-bit, have flourished. And if I'm not
16-bit.
mistaken, whatever, close enough. Um, doubled, but close enough. The style is
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't that game win some awards?
It won the Game Awards. Octopath Traveler 2 was snubbed.
Okay. By the way, they've been doing very well. I
Yes.
mean,
Yes, they have.
it made an appearance at uh, Awesome Games Done Quick,
Absolutely.
right? So I don't think graphics are as important to the younger generation.
It's our generations that are ruining that, probably.
Yeah, graphics used to be super important to me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, now I still enjoy very good graphics. It still has some importance, but back in the day, it used to like make or break a game for me, and now,
Yeah.
no, it doesn't. Like if it's a good game, um, to say the least,
You can find the style
I
in the
can enjoy
graphic
it.
choice that they did.
Right, right. Um, I'm trying to think of an example.
I mean, like,
uh,
I throw that one out. The newest Pokemon games, Scarlet and Violet, they're a buggy mess. Their graphics aren't the best.
yeah, but I still enjoy it
Yes,
because it's a Pokemon game.
yeah. I mean, have they changed the formula of it? Not really. Are some of the like, oh, I have a thing on my head that changes what I am.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm getting sick of those, to be honest. Like, stop giving me Gigantamax. That's dorky. I don't need to. Just give me a normal freaking Pokemon game. None of these fancy mechanics.
let's go back to Megas. Let's go with Megas.
Megas? What was Megas?
X and Y. It's they became beefy versions of themselves.
Yeah. The Z Strike one and Sun and Moon, fine.
Eh. It just gives
Actually,
them a move.
no, because you can't let them hold normal items. You want them to use Z moves. Stupid. Anyway, I digress.
So no, like so there is ways that we can get that we can teach. I think that's the best way to do it, because they're not going to necessarily find these things on their own. There's always the possibility that that will be, but even from like our standpoint of just vocational experience,
Yeah.
we know, or that like we have been taught, and we have seen firsthand that when we're talking about like things in scripture, people aren't just going to stumble upon that themselves.
Right.
They need to be led. They need to be taught. They need to be guided. Like, hey, this is a fun experience. What you are playing, what your friends recommended, you are being guided and experienced from that. Just so too with the stuff that we used to play. These are fun. I'm trying to get my 4-year-old to play Super Nintendo games. Yesterday, we were playing Super Mario World. 2 days ago. This week, I was having him play Super Mario World. It was hard for him.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't played it yet. He hasn't experienced it yet. He doesn't have the knowledge to be able to know when to jump, when to run, all of the different moves that you can do. I'm not like if we got to the third world, I had to play the level for him, then have him go back and play it himself, because he had to see what it looked like for a successful run through the level.
Yeah.
This is just part of raising a child gamer.
Yeah.
Is it frustrating? Absolutely. My patience is tested so much, not because I don't love my son, but because whether it's my mentality or whether it's some of my just personal issues, somewhat of a perfectionist in gaming and watching people play badly.
Yeah.
I don't do that. And so when I'm forced to sit here and try to teach a mini me to play a game.
Yeah. You know what makes this actually easier for us is the Switch's
Online.
Yeah, the Nintendo Entertainment System Online.
The NSO, the Nintendo Switch Online stuff. Yep.
Yeah, Nintendo Switch Online. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean,
you have your NES, your Super Nintendo, your Advanced, your 64.
Yeah. I was just looking through those games because I was curious, and I saw Harvest Moon 64.
That's on there now.
That was like one of my favorite games that I played. When I was telling my wife about it, because she's always like, find me a game that has horses. And I'm like, well, you can have a horse in this game. I don't remember if you can ride it, but you can have a horse.
Tell her Pocket Card Jockey.
That's what I told her. Yeah, I'm gonna tell her again.
It is horses and cards. And the card game is only like, okay, you have a line of cards down here. You have to find the matching one on the table up above that is either the number above it or the number below it.
Yeah. So yeah, like I don't know if they have Super Mario 64 on it, but
like, oh yeah, that was one of the first ones.
Okay, I also figures. But yeah, like want to take your son or your daughter through it, just like it's on the Switch, something very modern. Like I played this game when I was like 9 years old.
Not everybody has a shelf full of their old games.
Yeah, well,
you guys can see it over there here. Yeah, all that shelf right there. All old stuff.
Yeah.
all of the stuff.
I used to have all my hard cases and stuff, but again, thing with the Pokemon card is after various moves after my parents' divorce, lost
Oh, bummer.
everything. Don't know where the heck they are. Anyway.
Well, let's jump over to us now, because we have all of this experience. We have our specific styles of games that we like. Which one of you put this in here?
Wasn't me.
Okay.
Must have been Luke.
I'm sorry. What, the Mass Effect thing?
Yeah, do we prefer character-driven games like The Last of Us or world-driven games like Mass Effect? Could
Oh
you
yeah, that was me.
expand on that a little bit more?
Sure, I can try to at least. So the Last of Us, the character-driven game. I think what I mean by that, in the story is driven by the character named Ellie and
Mhm.
her journey with her companion named Joel. They go across the United States to get to Salt Lake City to see if Ellie can cure this disease that the world has befallen. So that's what you see her journey through all the ups and downs and people dying and leaving her, and ultimately where spoiler alert, where Joel removes her from the operating table and says that she can't her disease can't fix the world. In reality, we don't know if it will or not. So Joel ends up being a bad guy, in my opinion, um, by preventing Ellie to fulfill her destiny of possibly saving the world and ending this world plague.
Yeah.
But like Mass Effect, it's spread across 3 games. You're trying to prevent. I can't think what the alien race is called. Um,
Reapers?
you guys know what the alien race is called?
Like
Reapers.
Reapers.
Yeah, the
Yep.
Reapers. You're trying to warn the Citadel about these aliens that will control the universe. Um, and so as Commander Shepard, you go to different planets. You assemble a team, and in Mass Effect 2, the point of the game is to control the Citadel to prevent the Reapers from controlling the world. In Part 3, again, spoiler alert, you can choose to assimilate or choose to not assimilate based on your decisions throughout the entire game. Depends on who lives and who dies on your team. So that's kind of what I mean. So do we prefer world-driven games or character-driven games like those 2 examples?
I mean,
And
I
maybe you
would
guys
still
have.
say that Mass Effect is quite a character-driven game, though, in the midst of its world driving. And The Last of Us is still like the events of the world are driving the characters to make their decisions and live their lives. Like I think it is a harder distinction. Like I'm sitting here thinking of, because it's on my mind because I want to play it. Rebirth. Like, how would you describe that one? Would you describe that as a character or a world driven?
Well, I think I would describe Final Fantasy VII Rebirth as a world-driven game because of the events and remake carrying over into Part 2 and what happens with that story and what will happen in Part 3. Um, So I think that's more of a world driven game, in my opinion. I could be
Sure.
wrong.
What about like Resident Evil? All of those, like,
Resident
because like
Evil.
for what I'm seeing is like Mass Effect, Final Fantasy, all of those, like, they're larger games where you're going further in the world, whereas like The Last of Us is kind of a singular, like, so that you're focusing on the characters because you're not going to other places do things. But like Resident Evil, you don't really go places either.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think I would classify Resident Evil as character driven because the games are about 7 8 hours long. It's kind of a one and done type thing.
I,
Is
I
how
see
I guess I would.
where I see where Luke's getting at with Mass Effect being world driven, because
Sure.
I haven't played The Last of Us, so forgive me if I'm wrong about it. But Last of Us
Okay.
to me seems to be um it's all about like the characters' experiences.
It is solely focused on
Oh,
that.
yeah. Whereas Mass Effect, there is definitely some character-driven parts, but there's all this stuff from the Mass Effect world that
Hmm.
you learn,
Yeah.
and the world is ever changing based on your choices
Hmm.
and each in the circumstances of each game.
Okay.
So
I know
I
my
see
answer
where
for
he's
the thing
getting at
now.
with that.
I know my answer,
Yeah,
so
yeah, I know my. Well, Luke, what do you prefer? Is your topic?
I think I'm more of a character driven player because I more so like I like narratives quite a bit.
Mm.
So I'm more character driven stories, I think, than world driven stories.
I'd have to say I'm probably world driven. I enjoy like the character things,
Mm.
but I'm kind of also assuming that like these are also the world driven games are generally longer as well,
Hmm.
and like they are more of a book series story instead of like more like your general like less autobiographical stories where you're going through big actions, but you're also like getting into some of the small moments at the same time. You can go from picking flowers to slaying God. I mean, like that's your general JRPG, and that's I guess that's what I like.
Yeah, I I think I like world building more as well. There are parts of the like character driven things that I like. I care about the characters. It's
Hmm.
to me
Oh yeah,
it's similar to the kind of books I like to read. Um, so like so Stephen King's books tend to be very very character driven. Um, especially in his books like It and Joe. It's there's those books. Well, Cujo isn't very long, but It is massive because he spends a massive amount of time doing character development. And Cujo hardly read anything about the rabid dog. It's from his perspective a few times, but it's mostly about the characters. But the reason why I enjoy reading fantasy and sci-fi so much is because it's usually always about the world building. Building the world that the author has created. I really enjoy that experience of like entering a new world from another person's mind, and learning all the intricacies and lore of that world and all the complexities of these characters and groups of people, and how why they think and behave the way they do. um, so anyway, I don't know if I can say why I enjoy world building more, but I just know it appeals to me more because of those complexities, and because it's just a world completely different than our own.
I think it does come a little harder when like they both share some tendencies of the other,
Hmm.
mostly because they're a story focused game, and story
Yeah.
focused games don't really do much different from each other in a very general sense. Because how are you going to build a good story? Well, you need good characters.
Yeah. But you also need a believable world.
Then you need your world as well. Like I, because because you
Well,
can't have Last of Us without some of the world lore, the world knowledge. But it is then focused directly on Ellie
mhm.
and her experience. Like, you know what's going on out here, but the focus of the game is right here.
Yeah. Well,
Massive.
it's the terminology that Lucas used. What drives the story?
Yeah.
Is it the character or is it the world?
Yeah.
I really like world building because you get multiple character driven stories. So, Halo, for example, I would say is world driven.
Yeah.
Especially if you read the books. When you read the books, it's this massive world. It's a sci-fi epic. You get to read other people's experiences of these major events that you've been a part of as a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
That's just massively different than the Master Chiefs, whether it's other Spartans or STs or normal science nerds in Oni. I just really like that. It just gives you completely different perspectives, different ways to look at the universe and how things work and how different people respond to those world's events. Makes sense.
I think with like the definition, and so like I want to throw out like another one that I actually would say while there are definitely some outside forces, um
Mhm.
as a series is more character driven, and that's Metroid,
Okay.
because the story of Samus for a majority of her games is a solitary one. It is her experience going through a world. She is the one who is impacting the world. She is the one who is changing what's going on
Mhm.
in all of the games that you play. And so, like, I think there are more instances or more examples of world-driven games. I'm looking through the games that I have, and I'm just like, I am trying to find something that, like, another good example for a character-driven, because that's not the thing I guess I gravitate towards in the end. Would Hades be a character-driven game?
I haven't played it.
Because everything that's going on is well, what is that his name?
Hades.
No, that's his dad.
Mm.
Um
Heck.
Zagreus.
I was way off.
He is the one who is trying to escape. And so Hades is doing everything that he can to keep Zagreus from going, because all he wants to do is go see his mother. I like both of them.
Yeah, I like both too,
But yeah,
but
I would probably do world more than
I
character.
really like world building. It's a whole new world. No,
You
it's
fantastic point of view.
yeah.
No one to tell us no where to go. Say
You have
hello
kids, so you
to
got
me.
those lyrics down.
We have not watched that movie yet. It is too
Oh,
scary. We are still
yeah.
in that phase. We can't watch scary things. There
Yeah,
are
I can
still
see
episodes of Pokemon that are too scary.
some elements of that movie that might be scary. There were
Oh,
I
the
remember there were some
entire
parts that scared me especially like that big sand part with the monster thing
Yeah,
comes
like
out.
the cave
That
of
terrified me, dude.
wishes. Is that what it's called? No,
I don't remember, dude. Yeah.
I've played Kingdom Hearts. I know what's going. I've had that title go over my thing multiple times.
Kingdom Hearts is world driven.
Oh yeah, because Sora is not the only character. The main, like the main character.
I don't know. To me, there's just something about experiencing the world, somebody that came out of somebody else's head, or a couple other people's heads,
Yeah,
because you got teams of writers now.
and I think this goes back to our almost actually our discussion of open world and linear gameplay.
Really? Yeah.
Or a slight combination of the two.
Mhm.
I don't like. I actually would say probably the slight combination where you have linear paths, then a large open zone to do exploration in, and then focus me again, and then open it back up again.
I like a well balanced combo of that too. Like the example I gave was Alan Wake.
Yeah.
And it was basically that. I like it is 360, so it's relatively old. And it's been up to that point. It has been a long time since I played any version of a linear game, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. And I didn't know why, and then until I started thinking about it more, the whole linear stuff. So, yeah, a good combo.
Do you think we've
Every
answered
now
your
and then.
question, Luke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
I'm sorry we kind of
satisfied?
dissected it, and then
Well, we
It
are
led to-
pastors. We
Well, that's a
overthink.
good
That's our
discussion. So
that's our
we're
job.
all good.
all right.
Yeah.
I think we're good though because we've been going for
We're pastors. It's our job to execute.
2:15 already, so 2:10. All right.
In a long time.
Oh shoot, I got to get back to my notes.
Do that.
That does it for us for today. Gaming Public Radio is made possible by viewers like you, so thank you. If you'd like to support us, please hit that subscribe button down in the bottom right corner. If you'd like to see everything new when it comes on out. But you can find other shows like this that we're actually kind of slowly building as we go, like Super Nintendo Super Show and Play by Play, which is a PlayStation show that's going to be coming out soon. Getting that all pulled together. I think we finalized that logo, right, Luke?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that ended up being. I'm getting better slowly at digital art design. I am learning how to do the things.
You're already better than the two of us. So
you guys could practice and probably easily compete with me. That's all I've done. It's just I've done it.
But I ain't gonna.
Yeah, that's it. You can find Luke at Good Fight Games Podcast, Good Fight Games 618 on YouTube, and Good Fight Games _ on Twitter. You can find Ricky at Righteous Lutheran on Twitter without an A and with a W at the beginning, and with a Righteous Lutheran with a W and an A at the end on Instagram. You can find me at Hollowed Foxmoon on Twitter and Twitch, especially right after this because I'm going to go play Final Fantasy. Thank you for watching. You can find more content for excellence in gaming right here on GPR. Thanks again. Bye-bye.